call the meeting to order. But before we do that, I always like to say thank you to everyone for coming to our council meetings. It's very important that we listen to your voice. Your voice does matter to us, and please don't get intimidated in speaking to us. It's very important that we hear from you. So to that, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and roll call, please.
Mayor Vincent Hello.
Here.
Councillor David G. Romero.
Here.
Councillor Barbara Casey. Here. Councillor David A. Ulibarri Jr.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Romero, could you give us a moment of silence, please?
A moment of silence for all those that have passed away in our community within the last month, and also for all those that are homeless in the community and those that are freezing, and hopefully that we can keep them warm over this week. And also that we continue to do the right things for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Mr.
That's
Mayor,
it? Yes.
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? I would like to make one amendment to the January 8th meeting. That last paragraph, it says that the resignation letter. You're right.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councillor Ulibarri Jr.
Yes.
Councillor Romero.
Yes.
Councillor Casey.
Yes.
I have a motion by Councillor Casey, a second by Councillor Romero. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for January the 8th and January 15th, 2020.
Need a motion first?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes for the January 8th and the January 15th meeting. And that should say 2020, not 2019.
Right.
Yes. I did send in a few corrections.
Okay. Thank you. I do want to make another amendment to the minutes on January 8th. It stated that I received the letter of resignation by the previous mayor. I'd like to change that to make sure it states I received the letter by the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll make that correction.
Thank you. Roll call?
Councillor Romero.
Yes.
Councillor Ulibarri Jr.
Yes.
Councillor Casey.
Yes.
I have a motion by Councillor Casey, a second by Councillor Ulibarri Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is public input, and we have Meredith Brick on loose dogs and dog packs. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good
everybody.
evening.
Thank you. I'm here about the loose dogs that have been roaming for, I'm aware of, several months all over town. It seems to be increasing, and they have formed packs. There's a pack in my neighborhood that has come at people. I don't know if they've attacked people, but people have told me they have been intimidated by these dogs. They've come at me and at my dog, and I have been able to shout them away, and I have turned and gone the other way myself. And I have contacted the police, and I know other people have too. I've contacted my city councilor. I've now written a letter to the Optic. I forget what else I've done, but nothing's been done. Well, I won't say nothing's been done, but the problem has not been solved. And a policeman came to my door, and I told him where I thought some of these dogs were from, and he said, no one is at that house, the man's in jail. And so that solution went down the drain. And I don't know what else to do, but except that I'm aware that when when the city doesn't have enough qualified employees, say, for instance, in the sewage treatment plant, they contract with professionals who can get the job done because it has to be done. It's an extreme situation as far as health, safety, the environment, and the community. And it's, in my opinion, the same situation with these dog packs, and I'm aware of other dog packs that have killed someone's rabbit. And that's all I can tell you, is that something has to be done immediately. And I know the city is hiring animal control officer, and that officer has to be trained, but something has to be done before that, and I don't see why there is not a solution to this. And that's about it. Thank you.
I have a question, though, if I may. Part of the community is a pack of dogs.
This one is on the Riverwalk and over by the Utilities Department, all over that neighborhood. I've seen them at 12th and National. I have pictures of them. And I was coming here this evening, and there was a man walking, and there was the pack up there. I was in my car, and I rolled down my window, and I said, "Did those dogs go after you?" And he said yes, and he seemed somewhat shook up. And that's what happens.
Thank you. I do understand what you're saying, and I know that one of my friends, she is unwilling to go for her walks.
Same here.
And so because of those, we will address it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brett. The next person on public input is Joan Kuhn.
Yes.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm on the same issue, so you've probably heard some of this. But in August, I was on my bicycle, and I had an encounter with a loose dog, and I went to the emergency room, and I'm still going through some therapy, some hand therapy, from the injuries that I sustained from that dog. I was thrown off the bicycle because I tried to avoid it. But more than that, yesterday I saw 5 dogs on the corner. It was Sapio and Chavez, not Chavez, Union, or I can't remember exactly the name of that, but it was on Sapio near me, and I'm on New Mexico Avenue. And 5 dogs just on the corner there. And the things do not look like they're mistreated or anything. They look like they're fed and clean, but they're not, nobody's there who takes care of them. They're not in any kind of a, they're supposed to be in a fence or a leash, right? And people are afraid to go. And another aspect to this is children. Children are supposedly not going to school. They can't walk to school like we used to walk to school. Remember we walked to school? Because the parents perceive the dogs as serious issues, that kids could be bitten or something like that. You know what I feel is that we, kind of like Meredith, that this is a crisis. Can we bring in some people? We've got some extra money because we have all these jobs that are not filled. Can't we get some people like that woman who works for the county, Alex Allington, her name is. She used to work for us, but because there was no support for these code enforcement people, she left, and now she's got a job. But she's considered to be one of the best trained and most capable animal enforcement control officers. Yeah, so you know her? Yeah, yeah. She's very good. Could we maybe get her to come and do some work for us too? I know she works for the county. We're not trying to steal her away, but maybe we could talk to them about having her come and do some training. She's been through all kinds of training, I know it, and the people in the shelter think she's the best. Maybe somebody like that. Could we do something on a crisis basis and just say it has, we have to do something about this? And then the last thing I've heard is that the judge, thank you, yeah, that's mine, I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm sure we're not supposed to comment.
We got to do something. If the judge, after the control officers write some kind of a, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't think you'd do it, yeah.
Okay.
I really think it's something critical that we can't wait till the next administration. Could we get something, get it started now to try to deal with this issue?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before you say, any public comments should be directed towards the governing body.
Oh, I see.
Please.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person is Mr. Woodslick regarding lodger's tax.
Good evening, Mr. Slick.
Mayor and Council, I want to talk to the four of you before March elections bring new faces. For you have done great things for Las Vegas with lodger's tax over the last few years. First, you passed the 1% lodger tax increase. That means there is now $100,000 a year to beautify our community, like the already funded Guyanus River Park and E. Romero Fire Museum. Second, you have shown respect to the Lodger Tax Advisory Board, never challenging or overturning any of their recommendations. Third, your support has allowed lodger tax promotion to grow the Las Vegas tourism economy, now generating over $15 million per year. That's over 10% of the city's total economy, and tourism may be the fastest growing sector of the city's economy. It grew 27% in just the first half of this fiscal year. Finally, you appointed 3 highly qualified community volunteers to the Lodger Tax Advisory Board. Filling those vacancies means the board is now ready to take the Las Vegas tourism economy to new, unprecedented heights. Thank you, all 4 of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slick. That concludes our public input. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the next item is discussion items. The first item is Resolution 20-04, transferring 2 vehicles to Santa Fe Community College, and we have Chief Bibb.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Mr. Mayor and honorable councilors,
Good evening, Chief.
thank you. The police department is seeking your approval to transfer 2 17-year-old unmarked vehicles to the auto shop program at the Santa Fe Community College. These vehicles are not operational. They are at a 0 value and have no value to the department anymore.
Any questions, councilors? Councilor Romero?
Can you detail as to what came about? How did they come to us, or did we seek them out? Or how?
We sought them out, sir. So last year, we did the 2 transfers, first to Highlands and then to Luna, and kind of just spreading it around, if you will, sir. We sought out Santa Fe Community College, and they were actually very enthusiastic to receive them.
Okay. Any other questions?
May I make a comment?
Yes.
My understanding is that they'll take the vehicles and upgrade them to vehicles that can be used, and that'll be worked on. They'll be worked on by, I believe,
students.
in the classroom as well.
I see. Any other questions? I do have one. So we're going to do it, transfer it as is, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they're...
All the police equipment has been stripped from these vehicles, and they understand that they're getting them as is.
Right, and they're not going to be driving it, they're going to use it as a class in the classroom?
Presently, Mr. Mayor, they are not drivable. They are destined for the auto shop class.
Okay, good, because I didn't, my next question was the liability for us if anything happens when we transfer.
They won't be driven over, sir. They'll be trailered, and once they take possession, it's theirs.
Okay. Thank you. If no other questions, consent?
Consent.
Yes?
Thank
It's
you,
on the
Mr.
consent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The next item on the agenda is Resolution Number 20-03, assuring the availability of matching funds for the participation in the New Mexico Department of Transportation Municipal Cooperative Agreement, co-op, in the amount of $75,000, in which is 25% of the total estimated project cost of $300,000 for this phase of the project, and that's the main,
It's a co-op, it's a
sorry.
cooperative agreement.
and it's a mountain,
No, this will be the mountain, this is the Keene West National
I'm sorry.
Project.
That's right.
Good evening, Mr. Gurule. How are
Good
you?
evening, Mr. Mayor, Councilors. I'm here to, seeking surety of the availability of funds for the co-op, which is going to be the Keene West National Project for this phase of the project. Open to any questions.
Yes, Councilor Romero?
I had a question. I know, we've talked about it in the past as far as the drainage on King Street and within my ward. Will this fall
No,
within that?
this will be on the north side. We were looking into seeing what a cost estimate would be for your side.
Okay, have you done that yet, or?
The engineer should be working on that one because it's going to need a full reconstruction as far as drainage, because when one small drain on the whole, actually the whole road. No.
Okay, can you keep me updated on that?
Sure.
I just want to know, the $75,000 match, do we have that money?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, and in which funds?
We'll have it in the 214, the street improvement fund, the street co-op fund, excuse me. And that'll be available July 1 with the new fiscal year. Am I correct?
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman? No question? I don't have a question, but I do want to make a comment. I want everyone to understand or to know that Mr. Gurule and I went to the legislators and talked to Senator Campos and Representative Salazar. And just to let you know that Mr. Gurule was very articulate in our needs and very supportive of what we are wanting to get from the legislators, and they really understood it, and they appreciated your comments, Mr. Gurule. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, did a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny.
Next.
Is that consent?
So consent?
Consent.
Yes.
Item number 3, request to purchase one front-load commercial collection truck for the solid waste division. We have Ms. Maria Gilberry.
Hello, Ms.
Ms.
Gilberry.
Gilberry.
Good evening, Mayor,
evening.
councilors, Madam Manager. I'm here with my solid waste manager, Lucas Marquez, and we are here to request a replacement, a new front loader commercial collections truck. We've had a lot of need lately with our commercial and our residential, which we'll get to next. The trucks having to go to the shop a lot lately. Some of these trucks, we've spent nearly $15,000 to $20,000 in repairs in a year's time frame. These vehicles normally have if we could stretch it out, 4 to 5 year time frame. This vehicle is 8 years old.
We currently have the 2 newer trucks that were purchased in 2017 are of course 3 years old. The other ones that we're working with, myself and Maria and Alvin, 9 years old, 9 years old to 9 to 11 years old.
So they've greatly exceeded their lifespan. We squeezed out a lot from them.
We sure have. We sure have.
In December, the council approved the budget adjustment request to be able to fund these trucks. We don't have a time frame on when we'll receive them yet. We'll get that once we communicate. If the council approves it, once we communicate with the vendor, we'll get a schedule. We do have there will be warranties with these vehicles. There is a 3-year warranty that covers the axle and transmission, 2-year warranty that covers the engine and the exhaust, and the dash and gauges and interior is under a 1-year warranty. So we're requesting approval from the council for this acquisition.
Any questions? Councilor Casey?
Thank you. I just want to know how many of these front-loading trucks will we have when we get this one?
Mayor, Council, We're going to have approximately 3. One of them is, again, past its life expectancy and is costing the department greatly in repairs. So we'll probably go ahead and put that one aside and get ready to do what we have to do with, as far as auctioning off or whatever we might have to do to get rid of that one.
So we'll have 2 usable?
So we'll have 2 usable vehicles. One, pretty much we need 2 routes out there as it is, so they'll be able to handle their own routes.
And the front loaders are the ones that pick up the
The big bins,
the
the
big
commercial
commercial
bins.
bins?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Romero?
Just typically, the warranties on this, is that typical or is that extra?
Yes, Counselor, that is typical. I did look at the additional warranties, and for the parts that we have most of our issue with, they wanted an additional $18,000. And looking at our maintenance bills, that would be more than what we're actually paying to have them repaired. So we did look at the options for extended warranties, and it wasn't feasible for these vehicles.
Okay, and preventative maintenance in between, we're responsible?
So, yes, staff are able to do some of the maintenance. We are, Lucas and his staff are looking at being able to have a maintenance facility built on their property so that they'll be able to do more maintenance. Right now, everything they do is out on the ground, so they do what they can. And there are some technical work that we have to send to a shop for. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, you covered it.
Councilor?
Yeah, Lucas, how many commercial people you have? How many pick up in commercial?
Drivers?
Yeah,
Right now, we currently have 1 commercial driver
yeah.
for the front loader. The side loader that picks up the 3-yard containers and the 2-yard containers, we have 1 as well. We're short 1 driver in that area.
And
We have a total of 3 vacancies, and we're currently working on filling. One of them is, I think, in the personnel. The second one is in the interview process, and then we'll have the 3rd position that's.
how many
that'll be
customers do you
vacant.
have?
How many customers we have? We have, I want to say approximately in between the 300 and 400 range, around there. So we have a few cans out there.
It's a good one. It's good that we need one anyway, but it's good that you can start maybe working on what you guys said about maintenance and all that at your facility, because that would take a lot of out, like taking a lot 2 days away, you guys could do a lot of that, it'd save you a lot of money, so.
We could, Counselor, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Having them make it 8 years was pretty good, but like I said, we are spending upwards, on some of the vehicles, upwards of $15,000 just on maintenance and
I know,
on the older ones.
it's expensive.
The arms get really expensive when they break.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
You said that you're going to initiate a maintenance program, your own maintenance section. Do you have certified maintenance employees that can work on these pieces of equipment?
Mayor, Council, as soon as we get this building approved and functioning, we'll go ahead and make the proper trainings or get the proper trainings for these individuals to be able to handle these types of situations. Right now, we have gotten some free training out of MCT. They're the ones that actually make the packer body for the packer trucks. So we've been able to send a couple of guys, or actually one of our employees over there for a couple of trainings, so he could learn these hydraulics and the sensors and things of that nature, so that we don't have to be so dependent upon an outside contractor. So we are planning on making a full-fledged maintenance staff.
I see. Okay. And the drivers for these trucks have to be CDL licensed?
A minimum of a Class B CDL, sir.
Right. And do we have the proper rate of pay for these CDL drivers?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so we need to take a look at that, because that's one reason why I think, and I'm sure a lot of other people think, councilors think that we're not getting the staff to be employed with us. And so we need to really have that discussion real soon. So,
Mayor, Council, I agree.
thank you. Any other questions, councilors? Consent?
Consent?
Consent? Consent. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I think we have another one.
Yes, we do. The request to purchase a one-side load residential collection truck for the solid waste division as well. Ms. Gilbert.
Mayor and council, so this would be to purchase a residential truck. In this case, we do have the same situation with aging and older vehicles, but one of our oldest vehicles is still operational, so we do not want to get rid of it. But one of the issues we've had is when we do have to send in residential trucks or even the commercial trucks in for maintenance that we can't do in our own facility, then our driver is waiting. When we're fully staffed, our driver is waiting. So we do want to keep this particular older vehicle available as a flex vehicle. So unlike the commercial one, we do plan on keeping one of the older ones that this new truck will replace. It's the same warranty. The cost is a little bit more for the residential than the commercial, and same thing, back in December, the council approved the budget adjustment request for the funds to be able to pay for these, so it is budgeted for.
Questions? Councilor
Just a quick
Pacey?
question. So that'll give us 3 of the trucks, the side,
So that's the 2 commercial and how many residential?
We'll have, if we're allowed to keep the older one, we'll go ahead and have 3 there, 2 operable and 1 for backup. So issues like when you have to just put it down for oil changes, filter changes, breakdowns, we'll have that other one ready to go.
And one of the things about the warranty is we have to send it off to Albuquerque, so the entire time that it's in Albuquerque, it's beneficial to have an alternate vehicle.
thank you.
Any other questions?
No question.
No, well, I have one question. Did we ever get the the residential truck that was leaking diesel fuel fixed?
Mayor, Council, yes, we did. We got it fixed. The lot of issues with the older trucks, like the Wimmy and Maria have discovered, is when we take them in for repair, the parts are obsolete, so they're having to make parts. So that's why we're coming out to be so expensive in the fixes. So this is something that we have been putting together for a while now, and we finally came to a good agreement on prices with these trucks, and that's why we came forward.
As well as Lucas has been good on his budget, so he's been able to ensure that he has the funds available
I see.
for these acquisitions.
Good, good. And I'm sure that our residents will be much happier once we get these trucks in, so it will eliminate the delay of services. Appreciate that. And I know that the Solid Waste Division is doing their best to make things happen. And Maria, I really appreciate you having a great staff over there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Consent? Consent? Consent. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. You
I
have
have
a
a
question?
question. How about your dumpsters? Are you replacing some of the dumpsters that have been out there for 10, 20 years, 15 years?
Mayor, Council, are we talking about the commercial or the residential?
Both. But mostly commercial.
So our plans for this year are, we're gonna buy another 600 residential cans, so we could go ahead and have enough over what we have, so we can, make replacements when they do break and things like that. The commercial ones, right now, we have plenty of front loaders. That's the one with where the forks go into the little holes in the side of the can. The ones with the hooks, those are the 3-yard containers and the 2-yard containers. We've actually been in talks with MCT for prices, so we could go ahead and go off of them with the CS contract and purchase these cans. We need to get a total of at least 25 over here that we're looking at, so we could go ahead and cover the Moreno Street, the Valencia Street, and certain outskirts. On Grand Avenue, we have a couple of businesses with smaller bins that are really hurting. We know that we have bottoms of these cans that are rotting out, but they won't weld. We've tried them before. They're pretty much, once they start to rot, they're pretty much done.
Thank you.
One thing to note, on these residential and commercial trucks, we did our math and calculations on them. They lift over 700 times per day, at 700 to 800 times per day. There are a lot of mechanical moving parts, and that's why there's so much maintenance that needs to be done on these trucks, especially these older ones that are breaking. That's why they're tired. They're done.
Do we have to increase the budget for maintenance?
We're going to try our best to keep it where we're at.
And that's going to help us keep our trucks moving?
That will help our trucks keep moving, and we're going to try to do our best to not have to be out there by hand, but if we need to, my staff's ready to go out there and pick up by hand if we have to.
These new trucks that we're going to be getting for the residential trucks, are they, do they have the capability of lifting up the recycling bins, curbside recycling bins?
Mayor, Council, we anticipated that, and yes, this new one will be able to pick up those smaller bins. Right now, we're in an issue with recycling, and we'll discuss that with you, I believe, at a later point.
That's,
But,
that's
yes,
great, because I've been trying to get that in there for 8 years.
yes, we definitely discussed that.
Good, good.
And we did have an issue with the smaller bins not fitting in the current trucks, but this new truck will have it. But we do have other recycling issues that we have to address.
Okay, we'll talk. Good, thank you.
Yes, Chairman.
Consent?
Consent.
Consent.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, good seeing you guys.
Keep doing a good job you guys doing.
The next item on the agenda is the request to purchase one multi-terrain loader skid steer for the Water Department, the Water Distribution Division, excuse me. Ms. Gilbert.
Thank you. Mayor, Councilors, my manager, distribution is in need of replacing their existing skid steer. It is become old. They can't use it for what they need to use it for, so they are looking at replacing the skid steer. This skid steer will still be able to be used, so we will be transferring it over to wastewater, because there are some things wastewater can make use out of. Their skid steer is not operational, so that's the plan, is to move the older one over to wastewater, still make use of it, and then replace it, have water distribution replace it with a new one. They are also going to get a hammer, some bucket, and some additional attachments. That way they can do some rock breaking, some asphalt breaking, working in confined spaces, snow removal. It's anybody who's used a skid steer knows how beneficial they are, or seen one be used.
They're handy little things.
They are.
Any questions?
I got it.
Yes, Councilor Ilaberri?
That's good that you're getting it extra because you can, the extra equipment that you can buy with it, you can do a lot of work on, your water lines or whatever you need to do. But they have a lot of pieces that you can use that machine, so it's good you guys need it.
One thing I forgot to add is it does come with a 2-year warranty or 2,000 hours on their warranty as well. So that's the warranty for the skid steer.
Okay. And we have the money for the budget.
Yes, sir, it is budgeted. It is in the budget in our 8,004 line item.
Any other questions? Not consent?
Consent.
Guys?
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is request to repeal City of Las Vegas governing body rules of procedures, resolution 02-17, adopted July 17, 2002, and amended on July 20th, 2005 in its entirety.
And I
Mr.
believe-
Mayor.
Thank you. I believe Councilor Casey, Councilor, you have the floor.
Thank you. This resolution is the resolution that was creating so much conflict within the council because some of the parts of it did not align with the charter or with city ordinances, and so administration sometimes use this resolution for making a decision or wanting us to act on something, and if it was in conflict with the ordinance or the charter, then we locked heads and weren't able to resolve those. This is also the resolution that the state auditor requested that we repeal because it is poorly written. It is in conflict with other documents that we use that supersede this document, and so we need to repeal the entire thing. Also, I think it's important to note that it is this document that gave the former mayor the authority to hire her own lawyer and pay with city money. And so by repealing this resolution, we will be able to, Councilor Romero and I will be able to file a motion with the court and request that the declaratory judgment action be resolved, dismissed, and that way we can end the contract with the attorney who is still representing the mayor, who is no longer a mayor. And so I would request that when we do meet next week, that we repeal this and solve the question of all the conflicts, solve the question of what we should be following in terms of ordinances and city charter, and eliminate this. We have other things in place that already give us the rules that we need to follow. They're in state statute under the municipal code, and also in our own ordinances. So this is not necessary at all anymore. That's another question.
Okay, any questions? No questions? Okay.
And this can't go on consent, it has to be voted on separately because it's a resolution.
Right.
So that will be coming in as a separate agenda item.
We'll put it on the 19th agenda.
Yes.
This also will help us initiate, or reinitiate the Charter Review Committee, because we need to really take a look at the charter, because it hasn't been changed for how many years?
The charter, 10 years.
10 years. So we need to get that done right away. So I've asked the councilors to give me at least 2 names for the committee, so we can initiate that. So as soon as you guys give me that, that would be great. Okay? Madam Manager, next item.
The next item, that concludes the business items, the discussion items. The next item is executive session.
So any need for executive session? No?
I make the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
May I just ask
Hold on.
one question?
Yes.
2 names from each council will be coming back to us then for the charter committee?
Yes, from
And
their
that's-
district.
Okay, and that'll be at, when will we be doing that?
As soon as I get the
Next
names, then we
Okay.
can make that decision.
Okay,
Councilor Romero had
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
hand up.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I
Yes.
make a motion to enter executive session for personnel matters as permitted section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act and MSA 1978.
Before we do that, since there's no second to your
That's fine.
motion, so that motion is dead,
Yes, sir.
okay? Now, you made a motion to go into executive session, and need a second?
Second.
Second. Any roll call?
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Madam Attorney, are we supposed to state the reason for that?
I believe Councilor Romero did.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Personnel matters.
Personnel matters, okay. All right, we're going to go into executive session. We'll be meeting at the mayor's office, or city manager's office.